right now, I would go to Google more than I would go to UFC.com. And that's just because UFC Google just has just way more extensive information, right? In terms of, okay, well, this is where the fights are going to be at. This is the time. This is the prelims. This is the early prelims, so on and so forth. So yeah, man, I'd say Google is the way to go uh, more than UFC.com. But speaking of which, speaking of UFC.com and UFC, I got to warn you guys, this may not be an all UFC 301 conversation. Okay, this is probably going to be a conversation about MMA Guru and his recent comments about Michael Chandler's kids. And you know what? I got a buddy of mine from out here in the Elk Grove, Sacramento, Fairfield area, Northern California to be exact. My man Leon Smack the God up in here, and he has some things to say about this particular matter at hand. And I think that we're going to have some real interesting conversations about this particular matter, considering that I do know MMA Guru's history, his rise in YouTube. And not only that, I think that we're going to have some real strong opinions on this particular matter at hand. And rightfully so, because this is a very sensitive topic. And not only that, we're dealing with a guy who also doesn't have children, right? So, how much of that do you put into a factor in terms of MMA Guru not having children and why he would make these types of comments? Or is it just like what we said earlier offline, just trying to catch clout?
First of all, how you doing, bro? How you doing, dog? What's
Pretty
up?
good, man. Pretty awesome. Just doing the damn thing, just chilling, living that California life. So,
Yeah, man. Beautiful Sacramento, man. It's beautiful, man. I always like to start with the positive, man. We could talk about the suckers. We'll get into the suckers and the sucker shit and the clout chasing and all the bullshit. But I always want to make sure first of all, we ain't never done a show before, homie. Let's get to the real shit, man. Like, listen.
well, wait a minute. We were going to, but I think something happened with, I believe, well, yeah, didn't we record one? And I believe it was for, I believe, a Nick Diaz fight with Robbie Lawler, if you remember. And I think Gabe was in it.
Oh yeah, shout out to Gabe. Yeah. You did join a pod that we were doing with Gabe the Banker and myself, and you're a wild boy. Let's just say this: I'm a wild guy. You make me feel tame. So this will be.
I appreciate that. I take that as a compliment for for someone like me. Sure, yeah, that's definitely a compliment and quite true. So.
It's absolutely a compliment. It's absolutely a compliment. You're an intelligent guy. You got interesting takes. I don't always agree, but I don't want to agree with the guy always on the other side of me. I don't want to have to manufacture fake first take takes, you know what I mean, where we pretend like we disagree. And let me tell you something. I don't want to be like MMA Guru. And by the way, since we're already there on MMA Guru,
yeah,
he needs to change his name, dog. He ain't MMA Guru.
Well, first off, you can't be a guru in MMA, right? Because there's too many compository sports involved.
Hold on. Whoa. I'm talking about originality. There's already an MMA guru. The MMA prediction guru. That's the MMA guru. That's the first guy with the name. He needs to change his name to something else. And if you really know this MMA Twitter space, and you know the guys that's been putting their content out there, who've been giving predictions, and by the way, Prediction MMA on Twitter, by the way, if you guys are not aware, he had the name first, and he's a solid guy. He has great MMA takes. I respect his game. So this new MMA Guru guy, he really needs to change his name because he didn't come up with that. There was already. It would be like somebody coming up and trying to say they're the Smack God. No, motherfucker, I'm the Smack God. God, G-O-D, right here, live in the flesh. Ain't nobody else can come out there. Oh, I'm the Smack. No, nigga, you're not the Smack God. I'm the Smack God. So that guy is not the guy who is the MMA guru. To me, he's not the MMA guru. We'll call him Guru MMA.
Well, hey, shout outs to the comment section. Teddy Evans says, yo, what's good? He says, I am an MMA Guru fan here, and we absolutely welcome that, Teddy Evans. You know, obviously, we're here to dissect MMA Guru's comments, what it is that he said exactly, and what context is he trying to convey in this particular message. Because here's the thing, right? There is a fourth wall that we sort of put up in the YouTube space, right? There is an aspect of what we do when we headline titles, when we act a certain way. And sometimes we don't act a certain way. Sometimes we really are who we are. And you know what? Teddy Evans here says gay. Gay. What exactly do you mean by that?
Hold up real quick. Hold up real quick. Let's get a couple things done first. Is there a link where I can share this so that we can get motherfuckers up in here? Can we share this? I want to share this to a couple of different channels real quick.
A link, like in terms of what?
How do I share this? How do I share this link to let people know that we are live?
Oh, on YouTube. Just go on my YouTube and then yeah, you can share.
Can you put the link right here in the comments real quick? Can you put the link in the comments? Teddy Evans, if you are gay, that is totally fine with me. We do not discriminate against people who watch the show. So Teddy, you're gay?
Well,
Teddy gay? Teddy's gay?
Latest MMA Guru video. Okay, John Jones is gay. I think he's talking about John Jones. Yeah, he made that video too, insinuating that John Jones leans that direction. And well, it's quite a serious allegations to make, you know, for the baddest man in the world.
Here's what I said about MMA Guru earlier today. This guy is truly a race baiting piece of shit. I hope he gets slapped publicly by one of the guys he trolls on this platform. So I do hope at some point in time
he gets slapped because he doesn't come outside. You know what I mean?
Well, this is exactly why I just feel like let's just talk about this. He's what they call like the keyboard warrior, where he sits behind his fucking keyboard. He's probably got some old Dell computer. He's probably on like DSL internet. He lives in a shoddy neighborhood in fucking Birmingham, you said, or South Wales,
South London.
South London, where the fuck is that, right? He's sitting there. Look at this guy's face. So he's sitting there and he's talking shit. Like, first of all, he doesn't even live in America. So he's sitting here talking shit about Americans. He doesn't even live here. Like, bro, if I live in Sacramento, bro, if I say some shit about Uriah Faber or about Andre Touchy-Feely or Nate Diaz, there's a pretty good chance that I seen Nick Diaz at a bar not too long ago. There's a good chance that I'll run into this guy, and if I'm running my mouth, I might get slapped. I might get, I could get touched. So I'm gonna be respectful. Or I gotta stand on business. I gotta stand on business. What's wrong with his face? What do you mean? What's wrong? I mean, if you look at his face, you don't see anything wrong. All right, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's an edited picture and whatnot, but he also wanted to ask Teddy, why is Guru race baiting? An honest question.
Okay, well, we'll get to that. I get everybody just wants to like give it to me. Listen, I'm the smack god. I'm not TikTok god. I'm not gonna give you my take in 6 seconds. I gotta lay this shit out, right? So the first thing I want to say is he's not the MMA guru. There is already an MMA guru. As long as we understand this, the MMA guru that I've done a show with, that's been with me and Gabe the Banker, who's on the Money Right Fight Club, that's the first MMA guru.
His actual name was MMA Guru?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
You guys got to understand what the fuck. I'm not new to this fucking game. I'm not new to this game. I'm true to this game. And I'm telling you, you can go look him up right now. His name is Prediction MMA. He gives great takes. Well, who cares about the name? I just want to make sure that we give proper respect to the guys that come. Imagine there's another rapper that came out tomorrow and he said his name was Snoop Dogg. And everybody said, oh, there's a new guy named Snoop Dogg.
Listen, you know what? I'm glad you mentioned that. There is a rapper in San Bernardino by the name of Doggy Style. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's also a Crip rapper, right? You know, on top of that, he's 6'3". He's a Crip. He's 6'3", lean, and his
Yeah.
name is Doggy Style. And he's, you know, out of San Bernardino. By the way, shout outs to Doggy Style. He's actually one of my favorite rappers. You know what I mean? Like, I love his music. I love, you know, the whole G-Funk style, that whole old school gangster stuff that he sort of mixes in with the modern California style. But yeah, man, I mean, there's similarities in that. He does kind of say that, you know what, to his defense, well, you know what, I'm not stealing Snoop's style. This is a West Coast style, right? So when I mean, what if you know, the other argument on the MMA Guru name was to be like, well, I don't know, but to me the MMA Guru name doesn't make sense, only because how can you be a guru of a sport that that consists of different compository sports?
You know, I'm just saying he didn't come up with the name. He's not the first guy with the name. And the guy Doggy Style, listen, as long as you give it up to Snoop that he came up with it first, and you got to pay homage, bro. You got to pay homage. I'm the smack guy. But now let's kind of get into a couple of things. Who cares about the name? I do think that names are important because he's branding himself as an MMA guru and acting as if he came up with the name. Let's just give proper respect and pay homage to the guy that came up with the name first. It is all about the clout, and this is the clout chasing world, and that shit fucking it puts a tickle up my ass. I fucking hate shit that's clout chasing. I'm not a clout chasing person. So now let's stand on business. What did he do that was race baity? And I want to take him. I want to make sure that we're speaking in proper context. So as I was on my Twitter machine, was it yesterday or the day before, whatever it was, I came across a headline, and it was about Michael Chandler. And by the way, my vitriol is not unique to the MMA Guru. He just happens to be one person on that on that list.
And by the way, just so you know, there's a lot of people that sort of take flack towards him, right? Obviously, Ariel Helwani is one of them, although Ariel Helwani doesn't really respond to him in any kind of way. Because obviously, you know, Ariel Helwani is sort of like the Drake or the Jay-Z of MMA media, right? If you go after him, he's not really going to address you if you're, you know, if you're a small-time name, or at least, you know, in the comparison of MMA Guru. Luke Thomas, also a very well-known
journalist. Hold on. Drake?
Yeah.
Drake?
Yeah, and how about this, right?
Drake?
Ariel Helwani and Drake are from
Drake?
the same. They're
Drake.
Ariel Helwani and Drake are from the same country, and that's lightly saying it. they are from the same country.
If we mean Drake from Degrassi, then yes. If we mean like the guy that was like in the wheelchair, then yes, Drake. But no, he's not Drake. No, I'm not buying it. No. I don't think there's that. I don't think that's a really good comp.
No, Ariel Helwani, the Drake of MMA media, I would say so. You don't think so?
I don't think there is a Drake of MMA media. I don't think that there's anybody doing that. We're talking about a superstar, a super duper star that is pretty much universally loved. I think Ariel Helwani he's
all right. Then how about this?
He's the Brent Musburger. He's the Brent Musburger of MMA. He ain't no Drake, bro. He ain't no superstar.
The Brett Musburger?
Yes.
I don't follow the comparison. Educate me on that a little bit.
Do you know who Brent Musburger is?
No.
He's just a journalist. He's just
okay.
He's just a journalist, a well-respected journalist. He's Walter Cronkite. Well, he's a respected. Drake's a superstar, dog. That's what I'm saying. All right, so
but other notable beats that he's also gotten into. Obviously, this what you're about to say probably has a lot to do with this podcast right here that he did with this guy Sean Ryan. But also the other notable beefs he's had amongst his own fellow Englishmen, right? How about this? Michael Bisping. He's gotten into it with Michael Bisping. Michael Bisping believes that he's a very negative person, a very toxic figure in MMA. Dan Hardy and Mark Goddard have gotten at him. And you know what? They even did a video, and not only did a video, but deleted it because they felt that it was so negative they didn't want any part of that
Yeah.
smoke
So
whatsoever.
here's one thing that I think that that we tend to do in this society, and I'm gonna be I've been cracking jokes. Now I'm really gonna get into my point. Is that right now we give attention to like the most negative of voices. You know what I mean? It's something that we tend to do. It's like somebody could do something really good, and like if you look at the news, you look at what's going on, and 90% of what we see and consume right now is very negative. And it seems like what this guy has done is he's found out that being negative or saying things for clout is getting him attention. It's like an attention economy. And people will find ways to get people to talk about them, to hit that little like button. It's like Pavlovian, where like you get the reward for banging on that button. So people just bang on that clout button, and they seek attention and they seek clout. And I just want to say that at the end of the day, like we talk so much about society and where society's going. I do believe that as men, we got to stand on principles. And as a man, as a father, I do think that we have to stand on principles. And one thing that I don't think is to be taken super lightly is fatherhood, right? I don't think that we should, as men, tear down other fathers or try to punch holes in families and try to, for the purpose of clout. Like, is it that important for you to get a like on Twitter or a like on YouTube that you attack another man's family? And should we all participate in the tearing down of a man who, for all intents and purposes, has done nothing other than seem to like dedicate his life to being a good father? I got to say that personally, like as my son is looking, yes, sir. No, it's cinnamon. Sorry. Close the door for me, buddy. Personally, what I enjoy most in life is being a father, right? So when I see a man get on the internet and attack a father, and what I'm going to say is for a very flimsy reason or for an almost baseless reason, when you look at the guy, and I don't want to call him fat, because I don't want it to take away from how serious this point is. What we saw was a headline, and if we could back this up, can we put that headline up with the Michael Chandler when it says, "I'm not raising black children, I'm raising children"?
I don't have that one in front of me, but
you don't have it. Okay.
No.
If I could share screen, I think I could probably get it up. But either way, what it was there is an interview that Michael Chandler did on the Art of Dialogue, and he said, "I'm not raising black children, I'm raising children." And if you take that soundbite for just that piece of that conversation, you might think, "Wow, that's a rather strange thing for a white father to say when he's adopted black children." But he went on to say that he's doing what God wants him to do, and that there are no mistakes, and that when you are a father to a 7-year-old son, as a father, you're being looked upon as a superhero. So that child wants to be like you, right? So his black son is looking at him, and obviously there's questions as to why he doesn't look like his father, his superhero, right? And he has to explain to him that God brought you to my life, and you are perfect, and you are made in God's likeness. And he goes on to say that he's very proud and he's so happy every day that he gets an opportunity to be this young man's father. So for somebody to take that statement and turn it into just that first chunk, that first piece of, "I'm not raising black children, I'm raising children." I've seen black people attack him. I've seen black people attack him as if he's doing something wrong.
I wanted you to address this. Yeah. So a couple of things that Teddy Evans here said, right? And I wanted you to address this one by one, right? So he says from the beginning, negativity is the nature of truth. Now, is there any truth to that, considering that there is one thing that I will say that MMA Guru does best when it comes to his MMA channel? And by the way, this sort of relates to Cameron Simon, the guy that you're seeing right now, and also Dricus du Plessis. By the way, the reason why I'm bringing that up is because MMA Guru does have a great talent of being able to, let's say, being objective. Now, for example, like what we mentioned, right? We live in Sacramento, very big MMA community out here. There's a lot of different fighters that live in this area and whatnot. We can't just go out and harshly criticize, let's say, somebody like Uriah Faber or people that live in our backyard like that, right? And so he sort of has that ability to do that because he doesn't train with nobody in London, right? He lives in London, but he doesn't train with nobody there. He doesn't associate with anybody. That was until he got invited by the South African crew with Dricus du Plessis and Cameron Simon. So now he came down there. All of a sudden, now you're starting to see that he's not as objective when, let's say, somebody like Cameron Simon fights, or let's say somebody like Dricus du Plessis fights, right? He can't be objective anymore when these guys fight. Now he sort of understands the human aspect of MMA, right? Because usually if you're like a fan like him that doesn't have connection to the sport, you can easily look at this sport and the human beings that are part of it like as if they're video game characters and not really attach a humanistic feeling towards it. So yeah, negativity is the nature of truth.
No,
I can understand what he means by that.
I
But then,
think that's, here's the thing. I don't think that negativity is the nature of truth. I think that truth is the nature of truth. Truth
so what
doesn't
about
have
this?
to be truth.
Wait,
Well,
wait.
let me finish. Truth
Okay,
doesn't
go
have
ahead.
to be innately negative, and it doesn't have to be innately positive. The truth is the truth. It doesn't have to be negative. There's no science to back that up. That makes no sense. If it was any other reason that they were black, that's fine. But he's adopting. Well, when did he say he's adopted his first child because they were black? Well, first of all, you might want to ask the man. He's a man. What you are doing, Teddy, is you are assigning your own personal belief system to a man. I don't know, Teddy, do you have kids? I don't know what kind of kids you have, if you've ever adopted. I think that adopting children is a noble cause. And if you've done your research and found that, hey, these kids here are getting adopted at a lesser percentage as other kids, then maybe these kids are more in need and I'm in a situation that I could improve somebody's life. I don't know what you guys do with your life. You guys just sit behind keyboards and talk shit about people. See, I'm a basketball coach. I coach. I take on a family type, a father type of role with a lot of kids. I've got about 100 kids in my program right now. They can come to me for any problems that they have. I don't give a damn what color they are. But when you are doing things in the community, you're doing things for a real purpose. If you're following your calling, and maybe you felt like you're called to do this, and his wife, for all intents and purposes, sounds like she's a really good person, and she wanted to adopt a black kid. Who are you, Teddy Evans, to question their decision? If they want to adopt black kids, and that's what they want to adopt. If they wanted to adopt an Asian kid, that's what they wanted to adopt. If Angelina Jolie wants to adopt black children, she's the one that's going to have to live with that kid until the age of 18 and raise them and make sure they're educated, nurtured, fed, get them prepared to go out into the world. So who are you, and who are you to question? It's noble if you bond with the children, if you just adopt them for their race. Well, I don't know who you are to even question whether or not they've bonded with the children, or that they're only adopting them for. You're making a giant leap here. You're making a very giant.
You know what MMA Guru also did say in regards to this, right? He said something to the extent, well, if you were a black kid and you saw that there was, let's say, a black family that only adopted white kids, wouldn't you feel weirded out by this? This was his question in one of his videos that he had mentioned.
Question. It's a really stupid question. First of all, I said, why are we talking about hypotheticals? That's the difference here. Is he's attempting to add a hypothetical to a real life situation. What we do know right now is that Michael Chandler has adopted a black son and now a second black son. It's not a hypothetical. And when I see Michael Chandler speak, it doesn't seem like he's using them as jewelry or as protection for something. When he speaks, he seems like a man that is convicted and that he loves his children and that God brought these children to him. And he takes the responsibility of being a father very seriously. And I just don't understand why any man out there would see fit to criticize him for following what he believes his purpose is. Right?
I think the reason why is because Michael Chandler seems to be a very easy target, only because you got to think about this, right? He's a very well intentioned guy. You look at Michael Chandler, he's a very well disciplined human being, very regimental in the way that he lives his life. And quite frankly, to a lot of people, this is easy pickings if, let's say, you are a person that can't believe somebody is this well intended. You ever met somebody
Yes.
that was you ever met somebody that was so overly positive, right, that it sort of made you sick? There are people out there that are overtly positive to the point where they do make some people sick, and it all depends on your personality or the type of environment that you grew up on, or how your environment affected how you interact with people, right? I just think that when somebody like MMA Guru, who is looking at someone like Michael Chandler, is probably thinking to themselves, no, there's no way somebody is this positive, right? Or somebody that's this well-intended.
Would we all agree here that MMA Guru is a clout chaser?
100%, because that's the name of the game on YouTube, isn't it?
Chaser. He is a clout chaser, right? So if you are a man without children, without family, and without integrity, it might be hard for you to look at a man of integrity and even understand, like, how is he able to put somebody else's needs first? How is he able to be an unselfish person, right? So, so I can see where it's a foreign idea. How could this man love a black child? You know, maybe you're a white person.
Because he doesn't have children of his own.
Yes, so I'm about to say, so maybe you're looking at a white guy. Maybe you're a white guy, you're looking at the white guy like, how could you love a black? I don't know what the problem is. Maybe for some white people, it's hard for them to understand how another white person could love a black child. Maybe MMA Guru needs to look into the mirror and ask himself, would you adopt a black child? Yes or no? Why or why not?
To be honest with you, I don't think he would. And I can tell you why. And this kind of goes into some of the things that he says in his content. So MMA Guru is a staunch nationalist. And I think that if you listen to his podcast enough, if you listen to his live streams enough, this is something that you're absolutely going to pick up from him. Let's read these message real quick. So Teddy Evans said, why did he tell his first black child to pray for a brother of his skin? Should it matter? And then he also said here, he told his first son because the orphanage told him a black kid might not be available at the moment. And then then he also writes here, MMA Guru is a clout chaser, but he is bringing great takes that people ignore out of embarrassment. And then he said, would you adopt a child, period? He asked, would you adopt a child, period? Well, Teddy, I can answer that question for you. Real quick. I'll answer that question
for zooming through. These are great topics. The first thing he said was, back up. Let's back it up. Back it up to the first thing he said. Let's unpack this. Why did he tell his first child to pray for? Well, this is a really good question, but I'm not the one to ask. But I could just say, let me be devil's advocate now. Let's say that in this household, there are two. What we do know right now is that the three people in the house, and two of them have the same skin color, right? Son, it's kind of confusing. I have a friend that's adopted a child, by the way. By the way, I do have a friend who's adopted a child, and that child is on my basketball team right now. And I have another kid on my team who was adopted. I have two kids on my basketball team that are adopted. So let me speak from that first. I have friends who have adopted a mixed family. Wife is Filipino, dad is black. They adopted a black child. So let me just tell you from experience the type of love that my friend has for his son. Okay. We've talked about it. He doesn't know the background, but it is what it is, right? So I'm saying that in this household, you got 2 white parents and you've got a black child, and he doesn't look like his parents. If they were to adopt another a child that happened to, let's say it was white, for example, we now have a household where everybody is the same skin color except one person. Could that one person start to feel a little bit ostracized, or maybe they might feel like, oh, I wish I had white skin, and not like them like their own skin, right? Could that kid like, man, I wish I had the same skin color as the rest of my family? Or if you have another sibling who looks like you and he's getting the same love as you, you know what? Skin color doesn't matter, because both of us, the brothers, have dark skin, but the mom and dad have white skin. Wow, you know what? There's 2 and there's 2. The love is the same, bro. And check this out. My son is half Japanese. He doesn't have the same skin color as me, but the love is the same. So what's happening right now is, I think I'm seeing these white people and they're assigning value to skin color that I don't believe that is a shared value system in the Chandler household. I don't think they're assigning value.
In this instance, I think MMA Guru would sort of argue with you as to say that, well, your son is obviously your own blood, regardless
Yes.
of appearances or differences in that case, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Whereas with this, I think. So here's one thing that I notice about MMA Guru, which sort of gives context.
So what does my son being my biological son have to do with the fact that we're not assigning a value to skin color and pigmentation?
What I'm trying to say is that MMA Guru values lineage a lot. Okay, you'll hear this a lot in a lot of the topics that he talks about in his shows.
Then he should say that. Then he should say Michael Chandler should only adopt white children. Michael Chandler should not adopt black children. Say that.
But do you think that that's going to do well for him if he was to say that? Which I think is the reason why he's saying all of this very overtly.
Well, what he's doing is no, it wouldn't. But what he's doing, he's race baiting. My point is that he is race baiting. See, rather than standing on business, he is race baiting. He's assigning a value to skin color that Michael Chandler has went in that very same video, has told everybody that my child was made in God's image and God's likeness. God made him perfect the way he wanted him to be. There are no mistakes, and he brought you into my life to be your father. And I'm very thankful for that moment. Right? And I think that when people, so again, and I think that people who think that it's weird that he brings it up, I think you need to look into the mirror. And this guy is already, by the way, Teddy, I don't want to judge you, right? And I appreciate your feedback here. You've already said that you wouldn't adopt. So you don't understand the mentality of somebody who would adopt. So therefore, you cannot project your own feelings into Michael Chandler because your heart doesn't have the capacity to adopt. You've already said that. You've said as much, that your heart doesn't have the capacity to adopt. So when a man who does have the capacity to adopt is making moves, it might seem very foreign to you. And that's okay, but you shouldn't just, I don't think that you have a basis to stand on when it comes to being critical of somebody else. It just means that your heart, you don't have the same heart, and there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not telling you to go out and I wouldn't want somebody to just go adopt black kids if you're not ready for it comes to that. Because Michael Chandler could have adopted white kids. His life would be much easier right now. He wouldn't be questioned for his decision-making process.
To answer Teddy's question earlier, if that question was geared towards me or anybody in that sense, in Islam, adoption is actually very much well encouraged. What a lot of people don't know about the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was that he was an adopted orphan. So there is a long-standing history in Islam that sort of encourages this. So to answer your question, Teddy, although in the current moment of time, it's not something that I'm currently engaged in, it's also not something that I would be opposed to due to my ideological predisposition in terms of Islamic history and the values that come with that.
So take that, Teddy. Yeah, take that, Teddy. We both would adopt a child, Teddy.
But
I would adopt, and I have a lot of respect for people who do adopt. And I do have adopted kids in my program right now that I look after, and I have become a part of that village, not as a parental figure, but as I do believe that it takes a village. They say a lot of times in Black communities that it takes a village to raise a child. So yes, I would. So yes,
He
I
said
would not
here,
adopt.
yes, I would not adopt. Yes, I am not in that mindset. No, I'm not judging, but Guru makes a great point with everything surrounding the Chandler situation. And then
What's
he
the
goes
great
on to
point?
also
Explain
say,
the great point.
I'm not opposed to adopting depending on financial situation.
I don't understand the great point that Guru. I don't understand the point that Guru has made. What's the great point? A great point? A great point. What's a great? What are we saying, man?
Do you think that maybe Teddy is leading towards the idea that perhaps maybe he's going to racially confuse those children? Do you think maybe that's what he's
No,
sort of
no, no. What they're trying to say is here's MMA Guru's quote. Fuck. I got some creepy, sinister, get out, Jordan Peele script level shit saved from this guy's years ago when he talked about adoption that disproves his whole speech here. But I'm torn because they're kids, man. I ain't trying to get them bullied in school by making a viral exposed video. No. He's trying to say that he thinks that Michael Chandler is creepy for adopting Black children.
Oh, for those of you that are just listening to this on audio, we're reading on the screen. Teddy now said the great point is every time he brings up his adopted children, it's all about race. But also on the other side of that, Michael Chandler seems to make everything about it other than race, right? You know, when
it's
he
not
makes
about
a comment
race.
saying,
People
yeah, he
ask
does make
him.
a comment. He does make a comment saying that, well, I'm not here to raise men of a certain particular race. I'm here to raise men, period. And,
Yeah.
you know,
So if
but
you,
guess what? You know, MMA Guru took offense to that. He
the
actually
thing
took
is that
offense
the
to that
interviewer
comment.
asked him, are you getting questions about their skin color? Now he could duck the question and say, no, I don't want to talk about that. Or you could tell him ahead of time, I don't want to talk about it. But no, you guys understand how valuable conversation. And here's one thing I will give MMA Guru credit for is let's raise the topic. Let's have the conversation. I do think it's a great conversation. The problem with the conversation is that he is assigning his own belief or his own opinions onto what Michael Chandler is doing. You know what I mean? He's calling him creepy. He's saying it's like Get Out. Bro, you don't have no evidence to back that up. That's just some random bullshit that you're adding to the conversation. It's Get Out. What are you talking about? No, it's not. When you listen to the full interview, it's a very sweet interview where he's talking about his love of his children and his belief in God, by the way. He's a man of faith. A lot of what he's talking about is that he believes that God put him in position to do certain things. Now, you're a man of faith as well. Allah, right? And if Allah's will be, like, you do Allah's bidding, right? So when something happens to you, you believe it to be Allah's will. Am I wrong or right about that?
Right, 100%. And if so, if he believes that he's in a position to adopt and to provide for these kids, then obviously this is what he is feeling his calling has set him to do. So,
yeah. So then who is MMA Guru? MMA Guru seems to be a godless motherfucker. He seems to be first of all, he seems to be a man without discipline. He seems to be a clout chaser. He seems to be a man that speaks on other men's families, right? You know, I mean, I don't believe these are respectable qualities for a man to have.
Well, him and his fans do say that he sort of holds a lot of based views. Now, if I don't know if you understand, you know, what base means for the new slang for these kids, but base means somebody that holds conservative values or values of discipline and things of that nature.
It's not what that means. It's not. See, okay, listen to me, homeboy. Me and you got to have some real clear understanding. And we're not going to let these white people just take credit for everything. All right? We're not letting these white people take credit for everything. MMA Guru, you're not going to use black kids as a prop for you to get more likes on YouTube and get away with that. We're not going to let you do that. Based is not a conservative fucking value. Based comes from little B, the base god. Do you not know this? Do you know who little B is?
No, who is that? Remind me
Little
who that
B.
is again.
Little B's from the Bay Area. Little B. You can look him up right now. You can bring it up on a fucking other window. Little B, the base god. The base god. If you
So
look
this
up
is a Bay Area
Little
artist.
B, the bass guy. He's a Bay Area artist. The bass god. He came up with the word bass. I'm the smack god. He's the bass god. Y'all conservatives ain't come up with fucking bass. Conservatives ain't came up with shit. No, they did not come up. It does not mean conservative values at all. It's not what it means. They use it, but they took this shit. You can't be giving these white people credit for shit they didn't do. You can't.
Yeah, go on, man. Go on. Yeah.
Established.
I didn't even know that, honestly.
Grounded or focused on a specific principle or belief or fact. Based guy. You have base takes. Oh my goodness, man. You're trying to give it to the conservatives? No, man. Lil B.
Well, as of late, that's who's been
making
this lingo is that particular, side of the fence, and what have you. They use that a lot.
Based is a hip hop term. It's a hip hop term. Based, not conservatives. No, not conservatives. Ben Askren and was it Ben Fuckface, Ben Shapiro? They ain't came up with based. We ain't giving them that credit, man. They took the word from hip hop.
Not to lean this in a political side of things, but you do notice there's a huge growing support in the urban community for Trump, right?
Yeah,
I've seen.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. Hey.
Yeah, man. You know what I mean? This is real, bro. You know what I mean? I see all these dudes that are like, they're gangsters.
Timestamp this.
That are from the hood. They're
timestamp this. Timestamp this. Ready? 3.
All right.
2, 1. Niggas love Trump. Right now. I'm sorry.
42 minutes. N-word.
Niggas love Trump right now. Black people are going to be voting for Donald Trump, bro. They love him right now. Niggas love Trump right now. My sisters vote for Donald Trump. It's not like the Poindexter brothers like, hey, you know what? I'm conservative values. I like Donald Trump. No, it's niggas from the hood, and they really like Donald Trump. My sister.
There it is. I time-stamped it, and I even made a comment on it just to make sure that it's on the timestamp. 42 minutes. Black folks love Trump.
They love Trump. They really do. They love Trump right now. You know what? It's just funny how
Trump
crazy
is a ninja. I think we know what he's trying to say.
I like Teddy. I like Teddy. I think Teddy is fair. I do. And he's an MMA Guru fan. I'm shitting all over Guru right now, and Teddy is being a good sport about it. I don't think that, and I do think that I didn't mean to say that I think he's racist. I think he's race baiting. I think that he's trying to use Michael Chandler's kids as props for him to get more likes and say shit that I don't think he really believes it. I think he's just like hot take. It's like he's Stephen A. Smith and shit. He's just trying, or Skip Bayless. He's just saying some shit. He's trying to get. I don't think Guru is racist. I don't think we should throw around those terms like racist.
Well, you also got to remember when he dropped this video, it was during the time when there was a news cycle that was going on in the MMA space. So you had to create content in some kind of way. If there are no fights going on, you got to create content. Hey, guess what I did to create content? I talked about a Mexican, rapper that snitched on someone. You know what I mean? And that did pretty good views. So, but yeah, shout out to Mr. Criminal. We don't know if you really, did that or not, but, more on that story as the weeks are to come, and we're going to find out more about that. So I don't know if you're familiar with him. His name's Mr. Criminal. He's, on the Raza side of rap. He's a Sureño down LA. Apparently, he's being accused of snitching on one of his homeboys, one of his label mates, a guy who was under his record label, because he went and unalived somebody for messing with his sister, right? So he's saying, behind the walls, this guy Diablo, by the way, these are all like face tatted up essays and all that, right? But they do rap music and all that, right?
By the way, they love me. Those type of guys, they love me.
What the essays? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
man. Listen, we live in California, bro. We have such great diversity. Out here, just a lot of people think that we're racially divided out here in California. You know what I mean?
And
They're very wrong for that. You know
you
what I
don't know
mean?
I rap. You haven't heard my music. You don't know I rap. Well, I did rap. I don't rap any longer. But no, I've done music with some very prominent Latino rappers. So in that community,
In the
they,
north side or south side?
in the north side,
Okay.
a lot of the guys I did music with were Norteños. I've done
Okay,
music with
that's the
both
question
sides.
I was gonna ask. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done some really I've done a lot of music with those guys, and they really liked the music that I made when I made
Yeah.
that music.
Yeah, one thing about modern California rap, there's one thing, particular sound you're always going to hear out of it. It sounds something like wonk, wah wonk, wonk, wah wonk, 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 wah wonk, wonk. But I like it though. I like
Well,
all that. I like the
the
G
beat's good.
funk. West Coast whistle sound. I like West Coast rap. Period. I mean, that's my go-to. It's either West Coast rap, Islamic nasheeds, or heavy metal. That's my go-to.
You're an interesting
Workout
guy.
music.
We'll have to dig in. We'll have to dig in.
Yeah,
We
yeah,
will have to dig in on it because and for people who don't know, like you earned my respect. Oddly enough, we had mutual friends in the combat sports realm, team alpha
right.
male guys that we both know, and you were saying some really wild shit on Facebook, and like I
Back
was
in the
seeing you
days,
troll.
yes.
And I was like, yo, this guy is crazy. The shit you were saying. And I was seeing these Christian dudes, these European. You were coming at their frailness. You were calling people out to their core. And I just seen them. They were like going into straight snitch mode. Like they were going. They were calling the cops on you and shit. They were just.
Oh yeah, man.
I
I'm
said, this
telling
guy
you.
is so good at trolling. He's got these guys. He's got grown ass men. Again, men of no integrity calling the cops on him because they can't beat him with their words. So you earn my respect. Okay, this is a guy that
Right.
can
I
handle
mean,
it.
but that's really what it is, right? I think that sometimes when you hit people with hard facts, they tend to buckle down in a way where I've never been challenged in this kind of way before,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And because of that, it just gives them a very ill response to shattering their worldview that has never been challenged before. But just like with MMA Guru, right? I don't think that many of his worldviews have been challenged, especially when he never really had any friends in the MMA space until he started hanging out with Dricus du Plessis and Cameron Simon. Cameron Simon got knocked out in his last fight, and during his live stream, boy, was he just absolutely devastated, because now he realized that there's a human element to this fight game.
yeah. It's something
Now
that I've
with the
realized a
kids
long time
stuff,
ago.
but with the
I
kids stuff, I got to tell you, I think that eventually, because remember, this is a young dude. We're talking about a dude who's 24, 25 right now. He got into YouTube probably like 3 years ago when he was in his early 20s. So he never really developed a real life. Remember, think about what you've done in your early 20s, right? How you spent your Saturday nights. This dude spends his Saturday nights live streaming every single fight. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. This is how he got all of his followers, right? Was continuously live streaming. But again, it doesn't translate to field experience, if you know what I mean.
no. We did a podcast back during the pandemic, and there was a guy named AJ on there, and AJ was kind of lame, and I've got to find I got to find some of these videos so you can see the stuff. So we're arguing about fights and history of fights, and he was like bringing up like meaningless statistics, and I would just kind of laugh at him. And then he's like, "Oh yeah, I started
He
watching
was a
UFC."
brother, right?
No, that's white guy.
Oh,
And he
okay.
was
No,
like,
because I remember I saw you and some other brother like get into it. I think it was over a Conor McGregor debate.
that was MJ. This is AJ.
MJ, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
but AJ, said he started watching UFC at UFC 200. And I'm thinking to myself, I can't even talk MMA with you if you started watching MMA at MMA 200. You're not on my level. I'm an MMA historian. I was at UFC 100. I was there at UFC 100. You started watching UFC at MMA at UFC 200. You can't talk MMA with me. That means you don't know about Pride. You wasn't there for Pride. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
You wasn't there when – you got to understand that now we have so much MMA on television that it's just it's almost overwhelming. When I started watching
Teddy, that's cap. I'm going to tell you right now, that's cap.
There was a time that MMA was not televised. The ESPN called it human cockfighting. The first place we saw MMA on TV was Spike TV. So if you weren't there for the rise of it, you weren't there when Stephen Bonner was fighting against Forrest Griffin, and that was really when MMA took off and actually jumped the line from small venues to being mainstream. Then you really can't talk to me. You weren't there when Fedor was the GOAT. You wasn't there when Rampage Jackson was in Japan and Mark Coleman, and they're brawling backstage at Pride. You wasn't there for any of that. So your opinion to me is watered down when we really start to talk about the real fight game right now. Because I've been in this space for too fucking long for a guy that just jumped into the sport. You're 24 years old. You don't know shit about mixed martial arts. You're 24. You're 24. You don't know shit. You don't know the history. He don't know the goddamn history. Listen, he would probably walk.
You're talking about MMA Guru, right?
MMA Guru. He's 24. He said he's 24, right? Listen, I we live in Sacramento. We see a lot of guys out here. So I'm not starstruck by fighters. I've been starstruck one time in my life when I seen a fighter. And it was when I seen
who was that?
Big Nog. I seen Big Nog after Frank Mir snapped his fucking arm in that crazy ass comeback fight, right? His arm, I got a picture of him. His arm's in a fucking robo-cast and shit. I'm waiting on a fucking, I'm at the MGM. Where are we at? I forgot. Was it the John Jones? No, I wasn't there.
No,
John
we're talking about why, if you haven't been a fan that long, that you can't really grasp and understand, MMA in its full entirety, especially in the context of somebody who's 24 years old, like MMA Guru.
Yeah. So imagine this: he probably walked by Antonio Nogueira, Big Nog, and not know who he was. I saw Big Nog and almost pissed on myself. I've never marked out more than when I saw Big Nog. Like, that guy has given the greatest fights that I've ever seen. Some of the greatest fights I've ever seen. So to the average guy, to a 24-year-old guy, when Big Nog was doing his thing, you were 12. You weren't watching. You don't fucking know who he is. You'd walk right by him at a bar and not realize you're walking by one of the greatest fighters ever to grace this green earth. That's what I'm saying. So if you can't recognize the fourth, it's like being a hip hop fan and you don't know, you don't know who Easy is. You don't know who NWA is. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Well, that and all these other skinny jeans, dread-headed kids. You know what I mean? A lot of them don't know who Easy is. You know what I mean? All these new kids that got nose piercings and whatnot. You know what I mean? Yeah. With tattoos on their face. A lot of these kids, they don't. Yeah, I mean, it's just a different era.
We gotta pay homage. Especially when we're talking sports. It'd be like a baseball fan. He doesn't know who Willie Mays is. He doesn't know who Roger Maris is. He doesn't know who Babe Ruth is. If you call yourself a motherfucking journalist in this motherfucking MMA space right now, and you don't know who the greats are, you're 24 years old. Nah, homeboy, you're not one of the bigs. Okay, you may be impressing these little clout chasing motherfuckers right now, but you don't know your shit, homie. He hasn't missed a card in years. He does not know more about MMA than 99% of the people out there. MMA has a long history. You guys are mainstream motherfuckers.
Well, how about this? Best example.
Joe Rogan's commentary is trash. But he says Joe Rogan's commentary is trash. He thinks Joe Rogan's comment.
But do you know who brings up this particular narrative, though? right, about Joe Rogan's commentary being trash, it's MMA Guru. He's the one that leads this idea that Joe Rogan is somehow, just trash because, well, look, let's just be honest, right? Does Joe Rogan do his due diligence to, let's say, do homework for his play-by-play? To truth be told,
I
the
don't
answer
know.
is no, not in the way that Dominic Cruz does. And by the way, even Dominic Cruz had to call out DC for doing exactly that, or the
You
lack
guys
of
are,
doing, the journalist work that is part of that sport, or part of
listen to
that
me.
job that
Listen
they
to
do
me.
in a
Listen
commentary
to me.
booth.
We're gonna stop right here. We're gonna stop right here. You guys are entitled. Like I said, like I just said, there was a time when MMA wasn't even on TV. It wasn't widely. You couldn't just go turn on your ESPN and watch MMA. Joe Rogan was there before these times. You don't get to now without Joe Rogan. He is entrenched in everything that is MMA. He made it digestible. He made it fun. He made it cool. He made it a billion. He's a big part of the reason that MMA is a $1 billion industry. You guys are babies. Goo goo gaga. You guys are babies. You're being force fed MMA every motherfucking Saturday for free. You don't even know what it meant to, like, yo, when we finally got to see MMA on, like, I think it was Strikeforce. That was Kimbo Slice. They had like their first like televised big deal. Like MMA wasn't. It was like
Are you
MMA
talking
is a
about
lot
the
like
Seth
hip-hop.
Petrozelli fight?
It might have been that when he came out like a
Yeah, that
fucking
was
monkey
Elite
or a gorilla.
XC. That one was
Elite
Elite
XC.
XC.
It was Elite XC. You are correct.
And this is how you know I'm a longtime fan, right? That is when Dana White called out Gary Shaw and said, "That's effing illegal." Remember?
This
Because
shit, yes.
he told Seth to stand up with Kimbo. Don't go on the ground with Kimbo. Right. And then Dana was like, "That's illegal. You can't do that. You
Yeah,
can't
that is
tell a
right. That is
fighter
right,
what
right?
to do."
So, yeah,
So
so correct, right? So these people are, they're just entitled. They're just entitled, and they just weren't there. They don't understand. So look at Teddy. It doesn't matter. It's $100 billion. It's not $100 billion industry, by the way. I believe that the industry is currently valued, or at least UFC is currently valued at, I believe they sold it for 4 or 5 billion. I think it's at around $1 billion. So no,
now
it's
it's
not.
in the 8 to 9 billion mark
8 to 9. So it's not $100 billion
after the
industry.
WWE after buying WWE off. So
Yeah, so they combined with WME, I believe, is the parent company now. They formed like a new company. No, but it's you guys, you're just entitled, Teddy. You just don't know what you're talking about. It's like
but here's the
ignorance
thing
of
you got to
bliss.
understand. I want to interject on this to kind of give you context on MMA Guru, right? Not him as a person, because look, what we're criticizing here is his personal takes, right? And what we can draw from that in terms of what type of secrets he holds in his heart or in his mind, right? That's what we're commenting. But what we're also going to comment on is who MMA Guru has become. What he has become is a symbol to those that, let's say, have never fought before, or guys that don't know people in the industry like we do, or people that have never really trained before, somehow get this clout in the MMA space for commenting on it, right? And quite frankly, I got to tell you, like, that's genius. And for someone like yourself who's had experience in the independent music world, you'd have to appreciate that particular aspect of his accomplishments and what he's brought to the table. What do you think about that?
I think MMA Guru has 30,000 followers on X. If MMA Guru was calling fights, the UFC would go out of business. Nobody want to look at his fucking face. He'd be talking shit. Everybody would hate him, and then the sport would go back to what it was, which was a third-rate business. It was a very small, no marketing, no advertising dollars, no big television contracts, and the shit would fail. I
Now,
think
what
that
about this comment right here? MMA Guru is getting more views the getting more views virtually than anyone else in the space of MMA content.
He's got 30,000 YouTube followers. What are you talking about? No, he's not.
Well, but he has he's in the 100,000 subscriber base on YouTube, and he does consistently get somewhere in the 60K, 50K, which, by the way, he does way more than most fighters, way more than even some MMA channels or ESPN, or sometimes even TNT Sports. You know, he's you can't deny him of his, like, his appearance. You can't deny him of his
you know, I will be honest with you that I was not aware that he was doing that, those type of numbers. So I mean,
so look at this. Okay, is that true?
He
Teddy?
doesn't do more numbers than Ariel Helwani. Does he?
15K on lives. 15K on lives alone. This is which is crazy. Teddy says. So
you know what? You know what? Let me not be a hater. Let me keep it a bean. Let me keep it.
And this is what I'm saying, bro. Is that
I didn't realize, honestly. No. I'll be honest with you. I didn't realize he was doing those
completely different.
I didn't know that he was doing those type of numbers. Honestly, I did not know that he was doing those type of numbers. So credit to him, you know, for being able to generate that much interest. I'll give him credit for that. I will stand corrected.
And this is a guy who's never had fights, doesn't know anyone in the MMA industry, has never trained with anyone until he became famous on YouTube. And then that's when Dricus du Plessis invited him to South Africa, flew him out there.
Yeah. All right. I'll stand corrected. Yeah, he does numbers. He does his numbers. I didn't realize he's doing big numbers too. I'm really not a fan of his work, to be honest with you.
Well, you know why I think the numbers are like this, in my honest opinion and theory. I'm going to tell you why. I think most MMA fans, this is going to be very difficult to say, right? And I don't want anyone hating me for saying this. The majority of MMA fans are cowards, okay? And I'm not saying that, you know, to be specifically targeting anyone or anything like that. I'm just saying there's a vast majority of people that are in the comment section of MMA spaces, the vast majority of people that are, let's say, computer keyboard warriors and whatnot. These people exist, and quite frankly, they are the majority more than they are the minority. Okay?
Yeah.
So when you have that kind of population, guess what? They're going to lean towards a guy that looks more like this. Okay? That looks more like this than the Chads and the Tyrones of the world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like you can't be me. You can't be 6'5" with a 7% body fat and pushing 50 and look like this. You can't do that. So I get it. But you can look fat and grow a beard. And anybody can get fat and grow a beard.
Teddy, understand, this isn't to sly against you or anything like that. You have to understand the context that I'm trying to speak from, Teddy. When you go on a UFC chat, you know what? When they, let's say, have the weigh-ins, right? What do you normally see there? You see a bunch of people, right? Oh, R.I.P. Joe Rogan, or, you know, a few times you'll hear people, you know, make racial comments, drop the N-word in a very
way. UFC fans are terrible.
So this is what I'm saying. So my brother, you know, Teddy, I don't even know who you are in real life. You know what I mean? For all I know, you could be a trained killer. For all you know, you could be the complete opposite of that. Right?
Oh, he could be MMA Guru. Maybe this is MMA Guru's burner.
Or exactly, man. It could be anybody, right? But the point stands is that this is the reality that we see in the spaces of MMA that we can't deny. So when I call someone a coward, I'm not talking about anyone specific, right? This isn't anyone specific. This is literally just an assessment of what we see. And then he says, "Try me." Again, I don't know, like, I don't know what you want me to respond to that. I mean, what do you want me to do? Like, yell off the top of my lungs and somehow, get my blood pressure up because you want to say something, like this online, or because you disagree with an assessment?
Teddy, do you live within 100 miles of Sacramento? If not, nobody's gonna try you, and we can just get back to just.
So you said comments are fair and square. Okay, well, this is what I mean. I'm just being fair of my assessment. The vast majority of MMA fans that say, let me say this specifically, the vast majority of MMA fans that have derogatory comments to say in the MMA spaces are usually the ones that are going to be attracted to a content like MMA Guru. Why?
Yeah.
Because he's hyper skeptical of the world, as well as he should, but at the same time, he also drops a lot of subjective opinions that many of you sort of reside with. Whether that's wrong or whether that's right, that's just the reality of it. And not only that, I think that he sort of attracts and garners the attention of people that have really not only a skeptical.
Well, look at his thumbnails. Caught on a night out with his boyfriend. It's like the National Enquirer. He's got devil horns drawn. I wish you had a way to show this. Devil horns drawn on Michael Chandler saying the most creepy answer for his adoption choice. These are crappy. Look at his thumbnails. He follows dog porn on Twitter. Sean moves on from his talk about Izzy. Why are they being rewarded for being on their knees? Haha, Chael just sent me this text. It's some fat shit, some fat bitch beard on YouTube. These are his thumbnails. It's just smut. Rainbows here. Mark Goddard with devil horns. Why so trash? MMA Guru, please don't mog me at UFC London with Michael Bisping. Guru's fat and ugly, but very funny. It's just, it's gutter. It's gutter trash. And I think it is speaking about UFC fans. They seem to be drawn. I didn't realize so many people were drawn to gutter trash. These are the headlines. These are the headlines.
This is what he sort of fills in that particular space. Look, you got to understand something, right? It's great that you mentioned about old school MMA, right? I mean, you want to talk about that. What was it like during the George St. Pierre era? What was it like? It wasn't about trash talking. It wasn't about, disrespecting anyone or creating WWE clout or anything like that. Well, now it's a different era. And with that new era, sort of asks for or demands a certain personality to fill that particular void. And this is the guy that symbolizes all that. Right? So on top of that, look, he plays a character and he says that he's playing a character. And I think a lot of that has to deal with the type of laws that they have in the UK, because he has to be very careful about, let's say, certain hate speeches that he may be in violation of. But you also have to understand, he says that he plays a character because it's a way of sort of alleviating those laws. Because you got to remember, UK laws are not like us when it comes to freedom of speech.
Yeah.
So, this is what he offers to that particular group of people.
How come he doesn't ever go to a UFC event? Because he's pussy. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that. I didn't mean to.
No, the reason why is because that's exactly why he'll get confronted by the people that are pretty much.
Stomped out. He would get stomped out. He'd get stomped out. He'll never be at an MMA event. He'll never be at UFC in Vegas. Because what you gotta understand is, and if you guys don't really know the game, when you go to a mixed martial art event, even one like a local one here, these gyms are fueled up. There's a bunch of fucking young, hungry fucking killers, right? And they want to make a name for themselves. And if you were over here talking shit about one of their guys, the big guy, if you're talking shit about John Jones, there's guys in this gym that would love to knock you out for the clout. See, that's the clout they want.
Yep.
So you want the clout on Instagram. They want the clout in real life. They want to knock your ass out, and they can tell John Jones they knocked your ass out, and now John Jones is finna be cool with you. See, these guys want a different type of clout. So what you're gonna notice
people
about
don't understand. People don't understand that MMA gyms are exactly like gangs in that kind of way
like
as
gangs.
well.
Yes, they are like gangs. And me myself, I'm 6'5" and trained in Muay Thai, trained in Jiu-Jitsu. And when I say this, I don't mean I was a Muay Thai world champion. I'm not trying to say I was a black belt in Jiu-Jitsu. What I'm saying is 99% of the people that I would get into a street fight with, I would whoop their ass. I'm 6'5", about 220 pounds. At an MMA fight, I am the most humble human being you will ever see. I don't walk around like, I don't want no problems with nobody, because everybody's walking around that motherfucker. They're all fucking drugged up on whatever the fuck performance enhancing drug they're on. They're looking around, they're tatted up, and they're looking for a problem. They're looking for a reason to go. They can't wait to tell you who they're training with. They can't wait to fucking catch somebody who doesn't train slipping and knock that motherfucker out or take them down. No, listen, Guru will never be at an event because, like you said, there's a bunch of gang members running around that gym. You have no clue where it's coming from, and he would get his ass. He'd be carried out. He'd be carried out.
Yeah, and not only that, he's pissed off a lot of people in London as well. I mean, obviously, I've told you about his public beef he's had with Dan Hardy. Dan Hardy had to take the video down because Dan Hardy said, you know what, I don't want to delve into this negativity or this and that, or maybe a part of that was because he was scared of a lawsuit. Perhaps you don't know what kind of character you're dealing with, MMA Guru, or the type of law advices that he could probably get on the low. But yeah, he's gotten into it with a lot of people, online, Michael Bisping. Well, obviously Michael Bisping lives out here in California, so that really wouldn't matter. But on the UK side, I mean, yeah, he's pissed off a lot of people on that side of the world. That's why he doesn't train with nobody in that side of the world. That's why he had to go and train with Dricus du Plessis down in South Africa, because they just happen to be fans of his show. They weren't homies or train together before he became a YouTube star or anything like that. They wanted to train with him because he is a YouTube star, and that's that's the trajectory that MMA Guru is currently at. And the thing is that the comments that he's made with Michael Chandler, you got to understand, right? Again, I've said this before in the beginning of this hour. He has no kids. He's going to look at the world in a very different view, right? In other words, he's not going to understand why certain people are going to have a certain protective, protective mentality about them, right? And in terms of how Michael Chandler goes about his, his family life and how he basically, treats his kids and what. He's never going to understand that until, of course. Until, of course, when he becomes a father, just like he never really understood what it was like to respect other fighters until he saw one of his homies get laid out.
Who knows? Maybe he's an incel. Well, let me say this. This is my problem, though, is when a white YouTuber uses black kids for clout to get more likes or to talk bad about somebody else. That's when I really have a problem with it. You don't have kids. You're using black kids as a prop. You're really using a 7-year-old and a 9-year-old black kid as a prop for your show. Essentially, that's what he's doing. And that, to me, is chicken shit. That, to me, is really, it's not, I want to speak about this. Like I believe that men these days, like, They talk about things like toxic masculinity. I don't believe in these terms. I think we have the opposite. I think that masculinity is never toxic. I believe that we should be masculine. And I think there's nothing more masculine than being a father. It's the most masculine thing that a man can do. So for one kid, it's not even a man, I don't call him a kid, who is not a father, a white guy, to use black kids as a prop is absolutely disgusting behavior. And I say shame on him. And I say shame on the people who support him, because you're not holding him accountable to actually being a man. You know, we always talk about these things. Oh, you know what? Oh, you know, we can't be this, we can't be that. Right? He's got rainbows all over his fucking YouTube and like this is bad and this is bad. But bro, you're really using black kids as props. Why? Because you want some views on Instagram or YouTube? Is it that serious for you to get some Instagram likes? Is it that serious, bro? Where's your integrity at? Where's it? Why is a man of such little integrity so successful with UFC fans? It really does beg the question. I will never do such things. I don't care if I have 2 views on my YouTube videos. I'm always going to show respect to I'm always going to pay homage to the people who made the sport what it was. I'm always going to call out these clout chasers for the bullshit that they do. And integrity is integrity, bro. And we got to show that shit. And we got to support the real men out there. And for this guy, MMA Guru, to do the shit that he's doing, I think there should be repercussions from it. So at some point in time, I do hope he runs into somebody who we talked about, because I do all the time. I run into people all the time. At some point in time, I do hope he runs into John Jones face to face. I hope he runs into Michael Bisping face to face. Even Mark Goddard would probably beat the shit out of this guy. Even Mark Goddard.
Well, you know, Mark Goddard offered him to go to a referee school, right? Because I think their main argument that they had going on was a particular stoppage. I think it was the debate about the stoppage between Colby Covington and Usman, the first fight, right? He said that he sort of stopped the fight prematurely against Colby Covington because he said that Colby Covington somehow holds different political views than him. So somehow Goddard screwed Colby Covington. So obviously he went and fired back, and they did a response video, which they eventually took down. And then, of course, that made MMA Guru's day.
Mark Goddard doesn't even live in the United States, does he?
No, he lives in the UK. Yeah.
So what's political? I don't even know what Whigs and Tories, is that what they got over there? Whigs and Tories in the UK?
Well, I can tell you that from what I understand about the political landscape in the UK, you can't compare it to America.
Yeah, like what are you talking about?
Yeah, because Tories, the dynamic of conservative and liberal don't apply in the same fashion here. Like, for example, it's conservative for you to listen to what the government tells you over there, right? It's a conservative value, whereas here it's not. It's the complete opposite. You can't put. Sorry about that. My mic went off for a second there. No, what I was saying is, you can't compare them in any kind. The political dynamics between the UK and America are just completely different, right? But to add to that and to say that somehow was the cause. But again, it came from Colby Covington more importantly, right? He was saying that, Mark Goddard is an anti-Brexit person. He's for the European Union, so therefore he's a liberal wussy or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, and of course,
does Colby Covington give a fuck about Brexit?
What was that?
Does Colby Covington give a fuck about Brexit?
As long as it's enough for him to prosper in his UFC promotion.
Does Colby care about Brexit? I don't know. I've never heard Colby
personally. I don't think he does. I don't think he even understands the implication behind
I
it,
know.
or what kind of, economic prosperity or lack of.
Hey, Guru. Hey, Guru. We're American. We don't give a fuck about anybody else's politics, homie. We don't give a fuck. We don't know shit about your government over there. We don't know who the president is or the vice president. We don't know what the name of your military is. We don't give a fuck about y'all
I
politics.
do. I do. I know who the prime minister is of the UK.
It's Boris
right
Johnson.
now,
I
so.
don't. Okay.
No. It's Rishi Sunak.
Oh, well, see. I see. See, here's me. I actually don't know. I don't know who the fuck it is. But here's it. Americans don't care.
But you do know who the king is right now, right?
Richard. No. Hold on. Wait. Hold on. Wait. Don't tell me. It's not. Okay. Here's a true story. A good friend of mine is friends with Meghan Markle. Went to high school with Meghan Markle.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I don't want to say her name. I'm not going to say her name, but no. Meghan Markle did the calligraphy for their wedding invitations, and she went to a private school in LA with her daughter, and my daughter are best friends, by the way. And she's married to Andrew? No.
Harry.
No,
Prince Harry.
Harry.
The ginger.
His brother is Andrew.
No, that's his uncle. Andrew is the pedophile.
Oh, shit. All right.
Yep.
Charles?
Yep.
Charles the president?
King.
Yeah, okay. See, this is me. Me as an American. This is my American brain. This is the center of the world. We don't give a fuck about y'all government at all. We don't give a shit.
Hey, but you know what? MMA Guru knows a lot about U.S. politics, though.
Because we're the U.S. No, they gotta know about us. We don't have to give a fuck about them. I don't know what a kilometer is. I don't know what a meter is. I don't know what.
Have you ever measured yourself in a stone? Like, how many stones do you weigh? You know what I mean?
We're American. Listen, the whole world has to learn about pounds because the most powerful country on the world is us. So you jackasses, you losers out there need to learn what we know here. We can't be concerned about your fucking metric system. Jones is gay. I don't know if John Jones is gay, but I do know you could take that A and Y away and put O-A-T there. Jones is the GOAT. How is that not crazy? I don't know. Maybe he likes dicks. I don't know. I don't know if he's gay or not. I don't know. Maybe he's gay. It doesn't matter to me. All I know is that he is the greatest fighter to ever be born on this planet, and he's never lost, and I don't think he ever will. Well, that's kind of the definition of power. Yeah, power means you can make people do what you want them to do. We're also powerful because we have money and influence. How about America's powerful because we have culture, influence, we have power, we have money. Think about it. We make the best music. Everything we do here. If you really think about, first of all, let's talk about what Black people do. Black people kind of push culture, right? Hip hop. What's more influential than hip hop right now?
What's more well, there is an argument that says that hip hop is sort of down right now in numbers compared to other genres, which is why
you just told me that bass. You just used the word based as if it was a conservative value, and I told you it came from hip hop. Hip hop pushes all the way people dress, the music they listen to, the way people talk, all the slang, every bit of slang comes from hip hop. Fashion, it's all hip hop. Athletics, what's more influential than sports?
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, obviously, one of the biggest athletes in the world living today is LeBron. So
LeBron, Steph Curry. Listen, the culture in the world is being pushed. It's not just about violence, is what I'm saying. Is that kids in Japan know, they know Messi, they know Ronaldo, and then they know all the black guys.
Yeah.
LeBron, Steph Curry, you know what I mean? Like, Yeah, give Tom Brady a little bit of love too. You know what I mean? But if you look at the GOAT right now, John
And you
Jones
gotta
is
throw Travis Kelce into it too.
yeah. Let's go, Teddy. Oh, Teddy, come on. I know. Come on, Teddy. Give me a sound bite. Go ahead, Teddy. Give me. Say. Go ahead, Teddy. Teddy's about to. Is he gonna do it? What's more influential than social media? Shit. What's more influential than social media? That's a good question. That's actually. I thought he was gonna go a different way. It made me stop and think.
There's absolutely, yeah. I
Nothing.
think there is none.
Yeah, yeah.
I think the reason why we have people who, let's say, live in Atlanta dress like they're from LA and vice versa is because of social media.
There's nothing more influential than social media, Teddy. But I think that, but who came up with social media? Americans, Silicon Valley. The whole world changes when California does something. The internet. You know where the internet came from, Teddy? The Bay Area. Well, really from DARPA,
Yeah.
the DARPA
Yeah,
initiative.
Bay Area for sure.
It really came from the military, the DARPA initiative, but it actually became a mainstream thing because of Silicon Valley, California, America. So we created California. We created social media. Facebook is right there in Silicon Valley. I don't know where MySpace started from. Google right there, Bay Area. All this shit is from here.
MySpace might also be California based as well.
What is?
MySpace, that probably is also California based as well.
Yeah, Tom. Yeah. So all this shit comes from about 100 miles from where we at right now. You know, we run this shit. We run the world, man. The whole world. It's not just
violence. What's great about again, this sort of gives a pro and cons aspect to this, right? You know, as you said, one of the things that you want to promote in MMA and in sport in general is to continue this mindset of respect and tradition that has been going on in mixed martial arts for a long time and coming from the traditions of traditional martial arts. But the thing is that it's now interacting with a world that is sort of helping MMA catapult into the next level, which again is social media. But with that comes the aspect of this growing influencer space in the MMA culture. And this is why we have the likes of MMA Guru. This is also the reason why one of the most failing jobs right now in sports is MMA media, unless you're an established name. Or if you want to be an established name in MMA media, you have to be an influencer, a YouTuber, right? It's a completely different game now. It's not like back in the old boxing days. Remember those dudes that wore the fedora hats? They got their little notes. You know, they're going to all the fights, writing down, you know, their comments or this and that. This is old school boxing media right here. This is no longer that. And usually those are guys that are credited from, let's say, CBS, ESPN, or ABC, or any of these other legacy media companies and whatnot. Well, nowadays, it's sort of not that type of world anymore.
It's not.
You look at the people that are in the media space during, let's say, UFC fight weeks, or people that are doing, media coverages like the press conferences. A lot of these people are people that are just like us. Not necessarily in the media space, but again, anybody that just has any type of pull in the internet or social media sphere can go ahead and do it. And I think that's opened up a different level of opportunities for people. But at the same time, I think it also sort of desecrated people who, let's say, went to sports journalism. Right.
Well, let me say this. Let me just say this. You are correct that the world is changing and we're not seeing those same type of guys. But how awesome is it to see a guy like a Bert Sugar? And if you're really a boxing fan, like
I remember Bert Sugar.
there's something about boxing that is kind of primal, right? Boxing is like one of the last bastions of the old world where you could promote fights based off like racism. It's boxing is super tribal. You get into a fight, you got a Mexican fighter versus a black fighter on Cinco de Mayo, and the world is fucking watching. And all the Mexican, you know what I mean? You can promote about the great white hype and all these type of things. There's something to be said for the old forms, right? And maybe this is me becoming a boomer where I look at these things and yeah, you get a guy like Guru, he's a bearded idiot who comes out there and hot takes his way to fucking a lot of fucking clout. But what about the guys who made the sport what it is, who can tell you some of these stories? Like you talk to like, one thing I say about boxing fans is they have a healthy respect for like the guys that the old school. You hear I got somebody like a Willie Pep. Are you a boxing fan?
Yeah.
So when you hear Max Kellerman, he starts to talk about guys like Willie Pep, right? Willie Pep was one of the slickest left-handers, and this is like there's like a very storied tradition, and it's not lost on the boxing fan. I would really hate to see MMA go to a route where we become this microwave community where we talk about modern MMA. What the fuck do you mean modern MMA? What do you mean? What do you mean? Let's talk about the evolution of the sport. Because to me, there's the intrigue of this. The one thing that's great about mixed martial arts is that it's always evolving. The way it started with UFC #2 was there was this art that nobody understood, and it was called jiu-jitsu. And you had a guy like Royce Gracie who was able to beat guys outside his weight class because they didn't understand how to defend against jiu-jitsu. You could butt scoot, take somebody down. You had a whole hour to choke that motherfucker out, and you were able to show like, yo, this jiu-jitsu is the #1 art. American wrestling kind of got into the game, and they're able to kind of fight with guys, and kind of became a little bit more fair. Then people talked about cross-training. Oh, you're a boxer, but you learn a little bit of wrestling. Or you're a wrestling guy, you learn a little boxing or kickboxing. Cross-training is where you see the Tito Ortizes of the world come into the game. And they could do a little bit of boxing, a little bit of wrestling, and that was good enough to catapult them. Right now, what we kind of have, then there was the Lyoto Machida. Who MMA Guru doesn't know who the fuck Lyoto Machida was? You know what I mean? I bet you if MMA Guru went to Lyoto Machida's house and he handed him a glass of a yellow liquid, he would drink the shit. Please tell me you got that joke. Oh man, I'm about to hang up on you.
I do. No, I completely understand because Lyoto Machida has been known to have drank
his own urine
before. Yeah,
his own urine.
Intake,
Guru would have drink. He would drink pee. He would have drank a bottle of Lyoto Machida's piss because he wasn't there for the Lyoto Machida and the Dragon and karate. So karate had its day in the sun. Wrestling had its day. If you were the wrestler, the Sean Sharks or the muscle shark, you could take a guy down. You could muscle. You could dry hump him for fucking 3 to 5 rounds, whatever the championship fight was, to victory, right? Right now, what we have is true mixed martial arts. These guys blend arts, right? Yeah. You can see these guys. They can go from jiu-jitsu to Muay Thai to grappling to boxing to wrestling. There's all these different arts, and we're getting a true blend of arts now. A takedown defense. You don't really see a lot of like pure wrestlers having a lot of success right now. There was a time that was the dominant art. Teddy, are you really Guru?
Teddy says yes, he knows who Machida is, and no, he didn't drink.
I think Teddy is actually Guru.
Yes, he was there. Why are you saying stuff you don't know?
I think
Teddy, tell us what you think MMA Guru knows, right? Because I mean, you look, to be fair, we don't know if he really does know or don't know about Lyoto Machida's.
He's 24. Drink. He wasn't there, bro. He wasn't there. He's 24. He wasn't there. When was his first YouTube video, homeboy? Talk to me. Holla at me, man.
It was in 2018, where he covered the first fight that he covered was the Daniel Cormier and the Derek Lewis fight.
2018.
Yeah,
Lyoto Machida won the UFC title in 2009. Guru was 9 years old. The motherfucker wasn't there. He'd drink the pee. He would drink the pee. He was 9 years old. He'd drink the pee. Teddy, he's drinking the pee. He'd drink the pee. He wasn't there. Wasn't there. He was 9.
He said he spends all his time studying MMA and makes $500,000 a year.
He'd drink the pee. He doesn't know who Lyoto Machida is. He wasn't there.
He is at the center of all MMA media right now.
Teddy. And right now is so insignificant. To you, Teddy, to you right now is everything. To me right now is so insignificant. It's so insignificant.
Well, explain that, right? Because look, there seems to be a two different dynamic of thoughts here, right? You believe that this guy is completely irrelevant to the world of MMA, but you have people like Teddy and many others like him who believe completely different.
I'm not saying he's irrelevant. What I'm saying is he's here for the now, but he is not versed on MMA because he was 9 years old when Lyoto Machida won the goddamn light heavyweight title. He wasn't there. He can't talk the game with me, homeboy. He's not a part of the fabric. He wasn't there for it. He's the now. He's the now. But if you ain't really paying homage, matter of fact, his name ain't even his name, homeboy. He took his name for somebody else. He don't know what the fuck going on, man. He wasn't there. He's not drinking the PP. He's joked about it on stream before. Okay, well, all right. Maybe he's not drinking the PP. He spends all his time studying MMA.
He does, though. He does. That's one thing we got to give him credit for, right? Is that he definitely does. And we can talk about whether it's modern or current or the past, but he definitely does spend his time. And when I mean spend his time, I'm talking about like he literally covers every fight in terms of a live stream. And then right after he comes back with a review. He's very consistent, right? So this is one thing we got to give him credit for, right? But the thing is that he just rubs a lot of people the wrong way.
What you said on the screen to me was that he said that Joe Rogan is trash and that Joe Rogan isn't doing a good job. If he's anti-Joe Rogan, then he's not paying homage to the guy. So that tells me he drink the pee-pee. How much do I make? Hey, Teddy, I made $1 million in crypto. So eat my dick. What are you talking about? Document it. I made $1 million in crypto. Document it. Eat a dick. So don't worry about how much money I got.
You got some people out here pocket watching.
Pocket watching. You want to know how much my house costs right now that I live in right now? I'm in one of 5 bedrooms.
Yeah, I'm definitely in one of 5 bedrooms as well, Teddy. So I don't think MMA Guru can say that. Listen, honestly,
I'm not downstairs. I'm upstairs. I've got a couch here. I got 2 iMacs in here. I got an iMac over here. I got 3 TVs in here. I got a popcorn motherfucking machine right here, bitch. It's a fucking popcorn machine. It's a goddamn popcorn machine in my house, bitch. I don't fucking buy a fucking bag of popcorn and throw it in the microwave. I pop movie popcorn.
Yeah, look, what Teddy doesn't understand is that okay, I'll tell you this, right? I heard a rap song that went something like this, right? It went something to the effect of, well, you know, I'm a gangbanger, you know, trying to be a rapper. You're a rapper trying to be a gangbanger. That's a whole nother capper, right? You know, this is literally that example, right? You know, where we're real people trying to be YouTubers and there's YouTubers trying to be real people. You know what I mean? Like that's a whole nother capper in itself. Man, yeah. So.
Hey, I did my first YouTube video, man. This dude was 12 years old, man. He was 12. He wasn't even allowed. My first YouTube videos about mixed martial arts was R-rated. See, everybody's doing streams now. I did this shit. I'm one of the first motherfuckers to do this shit. Back when BJ Penn was fighting. You know what I'm
So,
saying?
okay, Teddy made a good point here, right? And I think this sort of gives us a good understanding to what we're dealing with here, right? He's anti Joe Rogan because he's pro modern MMA, and Joe is not part of that anymore. Okay, so what I think Teddy is trying to say, and again, this is where MMA Guru resonates with a lot of people out there in the MMA space, right? A lot of people think that Joe Rogan is no longer a true hardcore MMA fan. Okay. And why do they say that? Because okay, sometimes he gets the names of the fighters wrong. Sometimes he spams his comments in terms of saying the same things over and over again, not having any originality or this and that. This is a common
Yeah, I
uh
get
a,
it.
a common opinion that many people in the MMA space have.
I get it.
Um
You know why? You know why? Because half these motherfuckers ain't worth the time. See, listen, you gotta understand, like, we got real fucking lives. Joe Rogan got kids and a wife. I got a life. My son was just in the motherfucking room. I got kids that's going to college playing basketball scholarships. I got 100 people in my basketball program. I still love MMA, but I don't need to know the name of everybody on UFC 3-on-1. Who the fuck is
but
William
but
Gomez, John
what
Silva,
MMA Guru
Mauricio
does.
Rufi,
But
Ismail
here,
Bonfim? I got better things to do with my life than that. Joe Rogan got a real
you're right.
motherfucking
Me
life.
too. But guess what? MMA Guru does, and this is where he fills the
The nerd.
void. For
Yeah, because these guys are fucking nerds, though. So I'm saying, like, mixed martial arts didn't get here by people being nerds. It got here by people being the opposite of that, by being badass motherfuckers who did what they want. Like you said, people think like of UFC fighters and video games. You go meet a UFC fighter right now, you bust out a fucking gram of coke, they're snorting a fucking gram of coke with you. You go out and you hang out with UFC fighters, they're getting hammered. They are not like disciplined athletes that don't. You can run into their real people, and that is what allowed the sport to grow. If the sport was what you guys want it to be right now, it would never have grown to this level. So to shit on what made it popular to begin with is entitlement, and that's a problem with you Gen Z motherfuckers. I gotta jump off the stream. Teddy, it was nice talking to you. I appreciate the nerds. I do appreciate the nerds. I understand that, but y'all gotta definitely appreciate and pay homage to the reason that you have this sport to watch in the first place. Because without me and without Joe and without Kai, you motherfuckers would be watching cartoons on Saturdays, because mixed martial arts wouldn't be on the goddamn television right now, because you got to know what ESPN said about mixed martial arts before they wanted to do business with it. They did hit pieces about it. They didn't want to cover it.
oh yeah,
We had to
especially
cover
during
it
the
on the
John McCain
underground.
days.
Yes, they called it human cockfighting. It wasn't accepted. It was people like me who covered the sport. We covered the sport when it wasn't coverable, when it wasn't watchable, when it wasn't accepted, when there wasn't a Reebok deal, when there wasn't an ESPN deal. There wasn't even a UFC fucking fight pass. Yeah. Yeah, motherfucker, I'm old. It means I've been here. I was watching this shit when you was in your daddy draws, Teddy. You wasn't here. That means you can't talk this sport with me, homeboy. You could go and study it all day. I don't need to study shit. Are we living in the present or the future? Well, what is the present and the future if not an accumulation of the past? It's all moments. It's all moments in time. Guess
Yeah,
what? What we doing
I think
today
what
is the
Teddy
present.
I think what Teddy needs to understand is that I understand what he's saying also, right? He's saying, hey, listen, this is a new era. This is a new culture in MMA. But I also understand what Smack is talking about, because we also do have to understand where this sport came from and what this past has brought to its current present. But then Teddy says, nah, the past is over. You're right. It is. But again, we're just looking at this from two
So
different
wait, wait,
lenses.
wait. What do you mean by the past is over? What does that mean? The past is over. Well,
He says that
guess what's in the past? UFC 300 was in the past. Guess what? UFC 300 is in the past. Isn't it? Is UFC 300 in the past or the future?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's past
It's
already.
in the past. So everything that we're watching is at some point in time going to be in the past. So does it lose its relevance? Hey, Teddy. Hey, Teddy.
We need
Hey, Teddy.
heroes. Dana White is going to retire.
Hey, Teddy. Here's going to be my test for Teddy. Teddy, what was the greatest fight you've ever seen? What was it? I want to know what Teddy's. Tell me the greatest fight you've ever seen, and I'm going to tell you what my greatest fight I've ever seen is. You might have to go research it. Do your research. I don't need to do my research. I got it right. It's right here. I don't need to research shit. I was there. Teddy, what was the greatest fight you've ever seen? I got to hear this.
He said, I'm saying we have to look at the future, Teddy said.
Wow.
He said the greatest fight he's seen is GSP versus Matt Serra. So I'm assuming you're talking about
what? That was the best fight you've ever seen? That's not top 50 GSP versus Matt Serra. When Matt Serra knocked him out the head.
You got to think though, right? The first fight was quite incredible considering how big the upset was at the time.
Man, dog. Listen, that ain't no top. That's not. Listen, the best fight ever. The fight, and this is from a guy who watched it. Holloway's Gaethje. Holloway. Wasn't that fight UFC 300?
Yeah, that was just a couple of weeks ago.
Best fight ever. Oh, best fight ever. It was last week.
17 days ago.
Best fight ever. Oh, that's my point. Oh, best fight ever. Oh. No. Best fight ever was Robbie Lawler versus Rory McDonald. Hey, Teddy, I'll give you some homework. Go watch Robbie Lawler versus Rory McDonald. You want to see somebody's life change? Go watch that fight.
That definitely changed Rory McDonald's life for sure.
It changed his life, homeboy. You guys want to microwave everything. You want to put everything in them. You want it now. Oh, I want it now. It's new. You tell me that wasn't even Max Holloway's best fight ever. What the fuck are you talking about, Obi?
Well, I mean, I don't know about that, man. Listen, having a knockout with 1 second left is quite impressive.
That was a great finish, but that wasn't his greatest fight. Max Holloway? Max Holloway is giving us great. No, you didn't. You spelled McDonald wrong, so I know you didn't watch it.
Yeah, it's spelled Mac with M-A-C, like a Mac 10, you know?
You think you're talking about McDonald? Jones versus Thiago. John Jones versus Thiago Silva was one of the worst John Jones fights of ever. If you would have said Jones versus Gustafsson, that was a terrible fight. Teddy, you were just Teddy, you're proving my point. See, we're listening to guys like Teddy Evans who doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. John Jones versus Alexander Gustafsson was a great fight. John Jones versus Thiago Silva was a trash-ass fight. That was a garbage-ass fight. There was barely any action. John Jones just stayed out the way and outpointed him. That wasn't the best John Jones fight. That wasn't better than any of the John Jones versus Daniel Cormier fights. That wasn't no. Teddy doesn't know what he's talking. Teddy is my point. This is my point. If you leave mixed martial up to the Teddys of the world, then it's going to be like alternative rock, where it just becomes. It's going to go back off of TV. It's going to go back to you won't be able to watch it anymore. If people like Teddy have their way, you get rid of Joe Rogan and you put fucking MMA, it's going to go back away. It's going to go away again. It's going to be like boxing. Boxing had a problem, right? Boxing had the opposite problem as mixed martial arts. Boxing didn't embrace the changes that was going on with the internet. Steve Bay? What is this guy talking about at this point? Hey, man, you know what?
Best fight ever, Ngannou versus Steve Bay. I think he meant Stipe. Yeah, that's what I think he meant.
All right, well, Teddy's
Or
been. I think Teddy's been drinking a little bit more than me. I've had a beer. Teddy. I don't know. Or for on the feet, you got it. What is he talking about?
or for
McGregor?
on the feet, you got to say McGregor. So he's saying that McGregor is maybe the best striker of all time. Nah, bro, come on. You're just saying NPC stuff. You're saying all the best fights that ESPN say is the best.
I don't know what fights. Hey, homeboy, if you haven't noticed, I don't give a fuck what ESPN says. I'm talking about fights that weren't even on ESPN. ESPN didn't even cover mixed martial arts when Robbie Lawler fought against Rory McDonald. Teddy, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
But
Maybe
they
he
were
just
signed to Fox at that time.
was that.
They were signed to Fox at that time.
Yeah, so whatever it was, shit, I just know I was there. I just know I watched it live, and I know it changed. And that was a pay-per-view fight, so it wasn't on ESPN or Fox, by the way. That was a pay-per-view fight. I was at a bar. I was at Republic downtown, and I remember watching that shit and thinking to myself, holy shit. And Rory McDonald was supposed to be the next big thing. You know what I mean? He was supposed to be the next big thing. His life changed.
He was supposed to be what Islam is now to Khabib, as he was supposed to be for GSP.
Yes. But Teddy doesn't understand this, and it's lost upon him. So you Googled that, Teddy. You Googled that. I didn't have to Google that. I'm just telling you the way my heart told me. And this is the difference between me and some of
look,
you.
this is why he's saying this, right? He's saying this because it is named the best fight by the UFC, but the fact that you're saying it,
I didn't know this.
Yeah, the fact that you're saying it, he feels that somehow you're influenced by that decision. But the thing is that, I mean, there's a reason why a lot of people say that that's the best fight ever. You just had to watch it live and then rewatch it again.
Go look at my company, Fightline Sports, when the fight actually happened those years ago, and you'll see me call it the greatest fight of all time before ESPN ever said it. See, I can document this shit. I have this documented in real motherfucker. I made a video with a Kid Cudi soundtrack behind it at the end of that, because Rory McDonald gets up and he's fucking bloody and he sits up. When the fight is over, then he falls back down. This is on. Go to Fightline Sports on my Instagram. You may think I got it from ESPN. ESPN might have got it from me. That's the difference between me and you, Teddy. You get your information from ESPN. ESPN gets their information from the Smack God. Go look at my motherfucking Instagram page right now, Fightline Sports. Actually, I changed it. It's now called the Smack God. Go look at my Instagram page and go look at the date of the Rory McDonald versus Robbie Lawler fight, and look what the fuck I said about the fight at the time. Go look what I said about the fight at the time. Before ESPN
watch Usman versus Edwards 1.
Again, another fight that happened in the last 2 years.
No, one. No, that was the 2015 fight.
What?
That was before they were champions.
Not
two, not the one that Leon Edwards won with the knockout and then won the second time by decision in England, which is the third time.
Okay. The first one?
They had 3 fights. Usman and Leon had 3 fights together.
Here's what I'm saying is this. If you think I'm getting my information from ESPN, you are fucking dog shit crazy. Again, I can document everything I've said. You can go look at my Instagram page and look what I said about the fight when it happened. You new niggas just got out here and just started watching the sport. You got to do research. You want to do research? Go look at my page. Go look at Fightline Sports when the fuck I was talking about these fights in real time. Because I talked about these fights. My history is documented here. It's documented. I don't got to research shit. Y'all got to do research. Guru was 12. Guru was 16 years old. Guru wasn't old enough to smoke a cigarette when that fight happened. Smack Guy was in the building, live blogging, putting it on my Instagram. It's there. It's there, homie. I ain't making none of your points, homie. I don't know what your fucking point is. Your point to me is that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. But anyway, Hey, yo, this was fun. I really do got to hop off here, though. It's 12:04. I got to be up in the
Yeah,
morning.
man. Hey, listen, thank you for joining us. You know, it was great, having you on. I mean, we've wanted to do this for a long time. We're going to do it again. We're going to do this multiple times. We're going to do this for your page or my page or wherever we can do it. And for those that are still on here, stay. I'm going to review all the fights for UFC 301. And I hope you guys enjoyed this particular content. Obviously, much love, Teddy says, and shout outs to Teddy for dropping some comments during the show. And for everyone out there, don't forget to like and subscribe. Stay on. Say goodbye to Leon the Smack, and let me
No
let
government
everyone
names,
know where
please.
they
No
can.
government names, please. Just the smack God. Just the smack God. Just no
Okay,
government.
well, let everyone know where they can reach you at.
Hey, listen, man, I'm the Smack God. You'll see me on Twitter. I believe it is the Smack God, and I believe on Instagram it is Smack the God. You feel me? And that's where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? But I'll be back. We'll do this again sooner than later. Nice talking with you, man. I appreciate you. Love you. You have a great rest of your evening, and you guys be cool, man. Until next time.
All right, brother. And for
All right,
those stay, we'll be doing the 301 review, and then we'll go from there. All right,
now,
brother. I'll see you soon. Yeah.
yeah.
All right. So that was quite an interesting little segment we had going on over there. Obviously, the main topic at hand was MMA Guru, and we talked about sort of why he's rubbing a lot of people the wrong way in the world of MMA right now. Obviously, a lot of that was predicated on the interview that Sean Ryan had done with Michael Chandler, and Michael Chandler had said some things that, well, were a bit displeasing to somebody like MMA Guru. And of course, MMA Guru used a week of basically a slow news cycle of MMA to sort of use this opportunity to bring a story that's going to bring controversy. I mean, what's more controversial than bringing up racial implications that deal with Michael Chandler and whatnot? But again, it's rubbing some people the wrong way. There's people out there in the internet that agree with it. But nonetheless, what we will do right now is we will get on with UFC 301, which is going to be happening this weekend. So obviously, it's going to be a title fight with Alexandre Pantoja versus Steve Erzeg. That's going to be the championship fight. Now, what's controversial about this, right? Steve Erzeg has probably had just a couple of fights in the UFC, and all of a sudden he's getting a title shot, right? How do I see this fight? I just think that Pantoja really has a good shot of getting the win in this one. Obviously, he's coming off of a win against Davison Figueroa. Very high level guy. If you can beat a guy like that, I mean, I'm going to go with him by a decision on this one. I don't see this going to the scorecards or anything like that. I just think that Pantoja is going to uh, reach 5 rounds. Both of them are just not going to finish each other. Nobody finishes anybody in the flyweight division. So Alex Pantoja by decision on this one. Jose Aldo against Jonathan Martinez. I'm going to go with Jose Aldo on this one. Obviously, they tailor picked this guy to be an opponent for Jose Aldo. Jose Aldo is a big name in Brazil. He's coming on here to do basically a homecoming fight. This is Jose Aldo fights to win. I don't know if he's going to stop this guy. I would be very surprised if he does. But again, this is Jose Aldo and this is Jonathan Martinez. They brought him here to win. So Jose Aldo on that win. How about Anthony Smith taking on Vitor Petrino? Now, Vitor Petrino, top prospect coming up. He was a 185er, but also fights at 205. I think this is his fight to win right here. Here's a real good matchup between Caio Borralho and Paul Craig. I'm going to go with Caio on this one. Michel Pereira was supposed to be in this card. I think he still is. Is he? No, he's not. Jack Shore, how about this? Taking on Joe Henderson Brito. I'm going to go with Jack Shore on that one by decision. Karolina Kolokovic takes on Yasmin Losindo. I'm going to go with Carolina on that one. Her championship experience, her veteran savviness is going to win her this fight, probably by a decision. Mytek Orobai, 12-1. Again, one of these Kazakhstani fighters taking on Elvis Brenner. I'm going to have a go with Mytek on this one. Gene Silva taking on William Gomez. I'm going to go with Gene Silva on this one by second round decision, second round finish. Joaquim Silva taking on Jakar Close. I'm going to go with Jakar Close on that one. Jamie Malarkey versus Mauricio Rufy. I'm going to go with Mauricio Rufy on this one. Diane Barbosa taking on Ernesta Karalaikites. 5-0. Real interesting. Okay. I'm going to go with an undefeated one. Ishmael Bonfin taking on Vince Pichel. I'm going to go with Vince Pichel on that one. In the first fight of the early prelims, Alessandro Costa taking on Kevin Borjas. Let's see here. I'm going to go with Kevin Borjas on this one. So that is a card that we have for UFC 301. Obviously, everybody is excited to see Jose Aldo come back. Even Chael Sonnen says 301 is garbage. Yeah, Teddy, you're right. I think that the main attraction for this entire card is Jose Aldo. And you know what? I'm probably going to go make a separate video on Jose Aldo alone because he obviously deserves all the attention for this particular card. And that's all that we have. This card is nothing more than a filler, not worth the $80 that they say that it's worth. That's just the reality of it. You're going to be paying $80 to watch this fight. But nonetheless, it's still another great Saturday night of fights. Sort of. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed this content. I will see you guys in the next one. Inshallah.